Brothers, I don't really even know what I'm about to talk about here, but I just got done with my first jiu-jitsu class in, I want to say, a month and a half, something like that. It was like right before Thanksgiving, so maybe even like about 6 weeks, almost 7. Yeah, I mean, you guys have probably heard me talk a little bit about my shoulder, and it's actually feeling really good right now, and it doesn't hurt at all after the class. Like, it still feels great, which I'm very hyped about. Granted, that was class, not open mat, which is basically just live sparring, which is usually where I would end up walking out in a good amount of pain, but none at all. And usually classes will even make it flare up a little bit. So I'm pretty hyped right now, and obviously I'm going to keep taking things slow and continue to focus on, actually rehabbing/prehabbing, whatever you want to call it, in the gym. I don't know, probably prehab at this point because it feels good, right? But whatever. Dude, I'm just hyped up, man. I miss that shit so much. It's so good for just clearing out your head for a little bit and not thinking about anything going on in your life. You just forget about financial situation, good or bad. You forget about, if you've got a strain in a relationship, maybe you got a bad relationship with your mom or dad, or your girlfriend or boyfriend, significant other, whatever, is mad at you right now. Luckily, mine's not. We're on great terms right now. We've been on great terms for a minute, brother. I can't wait to marry that woman. I'm so excited. But yeah, man, I'm just hyped up, on my way to pick up some groceries right now, and it's just a little bit of a different video. But I mean, I think a lesson here, right? You can tell I'm probably a little bit more relaxed, just a little just chilling. Honestly, not too many cares in the world. The economy could be better, but that's ultimately out of my control. The best way to control that is just make more money, right? There's wars going on, but the only way I can really affect that is if I were to enlist or become some high-ranking member of the government. And even then, my options are probably pretty limited in all reality. And, so there's shit going on that you can choose to stress over. But at the end of the day, if you just focus on the things you actually can control, it's going to be good. And also to, push yourself outside your comfort zone a little bit. Not too far. If you're deathly afraid of heights, you don't need to go skydiving. You don't even need to go on a roller coaster if you don't want to. But, just jump outside your comfort zone just a little bit in ways that don't freak you out. There's no set thing for all of us to do and go do to get some mental clarity, to just clear our heads out for a little bit. But you kind of got to figure that out for yourself, and think back to, your childhood, or when you were in school still, when you were younger. What did you do? What did you spend your free time on when you didn't have to worry about paying bills, and when you didn't have to worry about, putting food on the table? What took up your free time back then? Maybe it's video games, maybe it's basketball, maybe it's playing the trumpet, maybe it's singing, maybe writing music, maybe writing poems. I don't know. Maybe you just you want to be an author. Try and write a book. I don't know. You want to write fiction, you want to write nonfiction, you can write a biography. You just have to actually make it a good story. People aren't going to want to listen to a bad story, but you can make anything into a good story. It's not that difficult. You can make anything into a good story. Sorry, I hate this intersection. I apologize. But you can make anything into a good story. You just have to practice enough and do it enough times, do it over and over again. Be okay with failing. Be okay with messing up. Be okay with making a mistake. I went into jiu-jitsu class today, right? And when we did some live training at the end, not just walking through the movements, walking through the motions, the movement patterns, the steps for submissions or escapes or whatever. When we actually got to live spar, man, I kind of got my ass whooped. I haven't gone in close to 2 months at this point. I got my ass whooped. It is what it is. But you start to feel the things come back that you thought you forgot, and well, you did forget, but all of a sudden you're put back in these situations and you remember. You just need to give it time. So if you've fallen off of something for whatever reason, good or bad, laziness or otherwise, maybe you got injured like me, don't be afraid to get back into it. Don't rush. And for me, it was tough. It was really tough. I was fighting the urge every day, and having the thought in my head, oh, you're being lazy. Come on, man, go. You're falling behind. But at the same time, I'm sitting there. This was early on, first couple 3 weeks, when my shoulder was still quite painful. Not nearly as bad as it had been. It was getting better, but it still hurt. It was still a daily process. And yet I was still sitting there, the initial reason that I took the break was so I could heal that up. And I'm still sitting there in my head, like less than a month into trying to heal it up. Like, oh, you're lazy, man. You're falling behind. You're falling off. And it's like, don't do that. If you're doing that to yourself, please don't do that. I understand, especially if you hold yourself to a high standard, and especially too if you enjoyed this thing, and like it's really good for mental health. Like, I'm not saying I need it for my mental health to be in place, but it's certainly it's helpful. It helps me. It makes me even better. Makes me even better than what I was before I found it. And I'm glad I found my way back. Not that I'd ever said, maybe I'll just be done. Maybe I'll just quit. I never thought that in my head. I was always like, I need to get back in there. I need to get back in there. I want to get back in there so bad. That's what it was for me. It was never, I just don't want to go. I just don't want to quit, which I understand that's a lot of people do fight through that. And I have fought through that in my life as well. And, honestly, if you're at that point, if you're having those feelings like, whatever, just like negative thoughts about something that you once really enjoyed doing, you're probably experiencing a little burnout, and I would suggest a tiny bit of a break, but you really have to be okay with it. You really just have to lean into it and accept it and enjoy that free time, enjoy that rest. Like, for example, if it's jujitsu, you just really have to enjoy that week or two off where your body is going to fully recover, and you're finally not going to be sore for the first time in months or whatever, like take that as the positive and only look at that. Don't look at it as the fact that you're not training, you're not advancing your techniques, you're not keeping up with the guys that have been around you, and you were so close to starting to tap this one person out that you rolled with, but now you're going to be back to square one. You're not going to be back to square one, man. It's going to take like a week or two to get back up to speed, in all honesty. Like, yeah, they're going to have new tricks, but guess what? You're going to learn how to defend their new tricks just like you learned how to defend their old tricks when you first started, and they had already been going for however long. And I know probably not a lot of people watching these train jujitsu, but this can be applied to everything, like you used to sing and now you're a little rusty. You're not as good at singing a cappella anymore, or your vibrato, I think that's what it's called, right? When you're holding a note to try and make it more pure and sound better. Yeah, don't judge me. Sorry. That was probably gross, but hey, fuck you. I don't give a shit. I like singing to myself in the car. And also when my girlfriend's in here with me. By the way, her name's Kelby. I never say her name, but her name's Kelby. And it just feels weird to keep saying my girlfriend, especially because I'm going to marry that sexy ass future wife of mine. So her name's Kelby. She's beautiful as fuck. And she's my favorite person in the world. And I really don't like hanging out with anyone else besides her, like 99% of the time. So yeah. But yeah, dude, just get back into it. Get back into it. And I say all this to say, like, I don't think men should hide their feelings and act like this big, tough, strong guy who feels no emotions, is never affected. Like, nah, man. You can express the fact that you love and appreciate your significant other. You can show emotion if you lose a family member, or you get fired from a job, or somebody close to you gets in an accident and is in the hospital, either seriously injured or even maybe fighting for the life. It's okay to show emotion in certain situations, but it's not okay to let the emotion overtake you and control you and dictate how you behave and how you act. That's what's not okay. But yeah, dude, like I was saying before I went on that little tangent, it's cool to like wear your heart on your sleeve a little bit. Don't be a child and throw tantrums when things don't go your way or when you're sad or whatever. But don't be some emotionless, stone-faced freak. I used to be, okay? And it just makes everything worse. And if you're anything like me, it'll make it 10 times worse in your own head, which is so much worse than it being out for everyone to see in the moment, because that's where you can work through it and let things go and find closure and whatnot. But yeah, dudes, get back into it. Get back on the horse. I've made videos talking about how I don't really fuck with New Year's resolutions, but like it's a new year, whatever. If that does motivate you, it's a new year, man. It's a brand new year. We're still at the beginning. We're only a few days in, and you can still make positive change. There's still plenty of time. And no matter how old you are, no matter what stage of life you're in, no matter how hopeless you think it might be for you, come on, man. Don't talk to yourself like that. If you talk to yourself like that, it's not going to be possible. But if you start talking to yourself positively, man, anything is possible. So I believe in you all, and I hope you're feeling a little bit of inspiration from this, man. And get out there and get something done today, man. Do something that you enjoy. Thanks for watching. Peace out.